As you guys can see in the title, I played Ghost of Tsushima for the first time in 2026. And, looking back at this game, I think I missed playing Ghost of Tsushima when it first launched because I had a lot of things going on at the time. And I still have a lot of tons of things I'm doing all the time. I got kids and I have a wife and everything, so... And then, I still work a full-time job, so it's very hard to kind of like play a lot of the stuff that I want to play when it first comes out. So I missed it when it first came out, but we finally played it in 2026 for the first time. And I gotta say, my expectations going in versus what I heard over the years have been pretty drastically different. So yeah, let's go ahead and get on with the video. First impressions for me, the opening sequence when you see the Mongols, storming the beach and you're like the dude gets cut or whatever and killed, and it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game. I gotta say, I was very taken in by that whole opening sequence. At first, playing it, like, I don't like tons of games that just kind of have like overdone cinematics and it's more of like you're like playing like a movie than like you are actually like playing a game. But it, I kind of thought that's how it was going to be going into it, but it really wasn't like that. I really just enjoyed playing it overall. It was like really, really good on how they really did everything. And it kind of, it slowly, gravitated towards a progressive system where like the more you play, the more enjoyment you have out of it. And I really like that about it. But like, yeah, my first impressions going into it, I was very impressed with the opening sequence by far. And, even in 2026, this is one of the best visual games that you can really look at. Like, still, you guys have heard this before, it's the same thing. Like, as I'm going through and exploring the open world and everything, I just like stop and just be like, oh my God. This game is completely gorgeous. Like, it's a masterpiece on the visuals. It's amazing, honestly. How it feels to control Jin right away was very just kind of like good. It kind of flowed very natural. It wasn't very clunky. And like when I first started to control Jin and everything, it was like it just worked so well. It was very good. Like I loved how just easily it flowed together, honestly, with it. And going back to the combat and gameplay feel of it, like the sword combat, I will say this, at the beginning and kind of towards the middle of it, I always thought it was kind of cool and everything, but then after you play it and you get kind of towards like the last territory, it just felt very repetitive for me. Like it felt very just the same old, like, oh my God. Like the combat for it felt very, very like boring when I talk about like the sword combat. Now, obviously you have different ways to play versus you sneak around, you call them out and do the honorable samurai thing. So, like as far as that goes, it had a little bit of diversity, but like when you're doing like the actual sword fights, it's just kind of it gets very repetitive towards the end, which towards the end it didn't really make playing it as much fun. There towards the end, it felt more like, oh my God, I just kind of wish it had more like things to offer in that regard. But the stance system where you get to change your stances depending on the enemy that you verse, I didn't think that was very overwhelming or anything. I thought it was very just intuitive, and I thought it was very like very friendly to the players. Like I really enjoyed that. Like it didn't make it overly complicated. It was very simple and very easy to do, kind of flowed with like the way that they had the layout and everything. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, to be honest. And like I said, the stealth and the samurai honor play styles, you can switch which one you want leaned into and all this and that, and all the other weapons and stuff like that. It was very, very cool. Like it was very, very good. As far as like this game goes, the combat, like I said, was actually not bad. And, talking about the open world design, this open world map was fantastic. Like, I loved seeing the stuff in it, the graphics, the visuals, the wind, the guiding wind was phenomenal. You didn't really need to open your menu unless you were like going into like a quest or upgrading like your weapons or whatever. It was such a good experience to kind of just immerse yourself into the open world when you're actually playing the game. And yeah, it was very, very good. Like, I really enjoyed, you know, how they did it. And like, compared to other open world games, I thought it was very, very good. Even for 2026, it's still one of the best, you know, best games as far as that goes. And, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about the story and characters too. Is Jin Sakai, right, as a protagonist for me, is a complete standout. Like, I love the kind of the moral tension he has with his uncle and his past with his dad, and like he's trying to like survive, but he's also not trying to dishonor nobody, and he's like, I love that whole tension with that character, and I love his resolve. It's really, really good. Like, Jin Sakai is probably one of my top 10 maybe protagonists. Maybe not top 10, but like for sure he's probably up there for sure. He might be top 10. I've not really thought about it, but I really love Jin Sakai as a protagonist. It was really, really good. And like the theme of honor versus survival and doing what you have to do, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed myself playing it, and you know, it still hits so good even in 2026. Like, it's still, like I said, very, very good. I kind of want to say this too, is does it still feel modern in 2026? I'm going to say yeah. Like, I feel like I'm kind of like nitpicking on this a little bit, but like modern games, like even like compared to like games that came out like, you know, this month or last month or past couple months, like I really want to say that even the PS4, like when the PS4 era kind of like started, games have not really changed that much from that time to like now. Like, they really haven't. Like, up to the PlayStation 1, the PS2, the PS3, you see like advanced, like huge gaps of like, oh my gosh, this is like the new modern that, you know, that we've come to. And like, ever since PS4 dropped, I don't see that much bigger of a difference. Like, it might be a little bit of a visual upgrade, but it's not that, you know, that big of a difference, to be honest. At least that's just the kind of the way I see it or whatever. But for 2026, this game was still top of the line great games, honestly. A couple criticisms that I want to speak about real quick before I get to my final thoughts is also like the repetition issue I mentioned earlier. Like, after a while, the repetitive sword issue was just like, it just got really boring. It just made the whole combat to me kind of stale. It really did. Even with all the different cool weapons you could do and stuff like that, it just I don't know, it just kind of became very just stale and boring for me personally. And the enemy variety was good, but I mean, like I said, it was kind of the same, like 4 or so different kinds of enemies, and it just got really repetitive very easily. Maybe I should have played it on a little bit harder difficulty. I don't remember picking the difficulty. I think I just picked normal. I used to always do everything at like the hardest difficulty you could go, but that just kind of like, I'm just kind of burnt out on that. So I think I did normal for this playthrough, so I should have did it on harder and I maybe enjoyed it a little bit more, but like, it was very stale and the enemy variety was not very, you know, big. It was, you know, like that or whatever. But then, you know, also the open world fatigue, I don't think that was really a thing. I think, you know, exploring the open world is what made it refreshing. Like, when you are going to a new area and like you're just exploring and you're seeing the scenery and you just kind of get immersed in that whole world when you're traveling. I think that's kind of what made it like refreshing, going from like fight to fight, was just the open world of it, for sure. But my final thoughts of Ghost of Tsushima in 2026 is, I still think it's timeless. I think, you know, you could pick it up, play it right now, and it'd be just as fun as you playing it when it first released. You know, if you've not played this game in a long time, I mean, I know Ghost of Yotai came out, and I've not even played that yet, so I need to play that soon. Yeah, man, it's definitely, I would still honestly, like, even if this game was still full price, I think I'd pick it up, because definitely worth the money for sure. You know, like, you guys have heard this before and everything, but I will say, it does have a legendary reputation. You know, you've heard all the great things about it, the visuals. I mean, it got praised to death when it first came out. I'm not saying much things different about it. I really do. I really, really do enjoy this game. And highly recommend it if you've not played Ghost of Tsushima, like I have not for like tons of years. Yeah, you need to pick. You need to pick it up, play it. It's definitely worth it for sure. And I really enjoyed my time with it. Like I said, Jin Sakai as a character, the side characters were timeless. It was just an overall fun experience for me. I really did enjoy the game. I really did. So, yeah, man, that's kind of my thoughts on it. And I've not played a ton of games, as you could probably tell in my other video that I made. If you have not checked that out, definitely check it out and recommend me a game or game series to definitely play. What should I play next? Let me know in the comments down below. And I would love to try out some new games that I've not played. I've not played a ton of games because I'm always busy. So please recommend me some games to play, and I will catch y'all in the next one.